Support comes from Troy University's Trojan Cafe, offering handcrafted Starbucks beverages and a wide assortment of meal and snack options. Located on Troy University's Montgomery campus, across from the Rosa Parks Library and Museum.
From Troy Public Radio, this is the Newswrap, and I'm Carolyn Hutchison. From Alabama Public Television's Capitol Journal, Jeff Sanders, executive producer and correspondent, joins us today while Todd Stacy is away. Jeff discusses the Farm Bill and previews the August 11th special primary election. And the Wildcard has gone to the dogs on a surfboard. Jeff Sanders, it is a pleasure to welcome you back to Troy Public Radio.
Carolyn, always a pleasure to join you.
What's the big news today?
The Farm Bill this week went before lawmakers in the Senate. The House has already passed its version. Lawmakers in the Senate cannot agree on what's happening there. And basically, it's over dispute over food benefits to folks in America and how Republicans want to put some restrictions on that. Democrats don't. So that did not happen. Of course, that Farm Bill affects a lot of farmers in Alabama. And Katie Britt spoke to Alex Engel about that, and we'll have that story from Washington as well. Also, the other U.S. Senator for us and the Republican nominee for governor, Tommy Tuberville, was in the capital city this week, speaking to the Chamber of Commerce, made some interesting comments about his thoughts about crime in the capital city, not very positive, and said that basically when he becomes governor that he's going to clean up the capital city. Randy Scott has more on that as well this week.
Congress is about to take a vacation. How's it looking?
Well, I think dysfunction is just a bare minimum of what Congress is taking shape and doing several years, it seems like now. Tommy Tuberville, Katie Britt there. We have two Democrats in the state with Shamari Figures and Terry Sewell, and it's just not a whole lot happening. It is pretty much gridlocked. I will say this, Katie Britt has been a part of some bipartisan legislation throughout her time in the Senate, and she continues to work that lane. I know her and John Fetterman, the Democratic senator, are close friends. But that's about it. This Farm Bill looks like it's going to have to wait a while and see what happens when lawmakers come back from their break, as the election is just a few months away. And quickly, we do have a special primary in Alabama next week on Tuesday.
Well, Jeff, can you give us a brief preview of that primary?
Well, as you know, congressional lines have been redrawn. The big thing is District 2, and that's where Shamari Figures now covers. That was kicked out by federal court a few years ago, saying it violated the Voting Rights Act. Due to some ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court earlier this year, the state was allowed to go back to the maps that the legislature drew a few years ago. So that kind of puts that district back to more of a Republican district. And then so Shamari Figures is unopposed in the Democratic primary. There are 6 candidates or so, I believe, in the Republican primary. There'll be no runoff next week, so whoever gets the most votes will go on to face Figures in November. I know it's a race that the National Democrats has targeted as one they're going to put a lot of money into, hoping they can hold on to that seat.
Well, Jeff, it is time for a wild card.
Surf's up, by the way. Hundreds of people packed a North California beach for the annual World Dog Surfing Championships. Miniature dachshunds, corgis, golden retrievers, spaniels, retrievers, you name it. They were all in colorful jackets. Judges scored each pup on balance, confidence, and style, while the event raised money for local animal charities. It was one competition, I can say this, Carolyn, where wiping out was still a positive experience, and the competition was rough. If that's enough puns for you.
You bet. Who's on Capitol Journal tonight, 7:30, Sunday at noon, and on YouTube?
Political analyst Steve Flowers will be joining us to kind of preview that special election coming up. Heath Harmon from the Alabama High School Athletic Association will join us to discuss the beginning of football season, and APT will be carrying games of the week again this year. And we'll have Pam Swanner from the Alabama Black Belt Adventurers Association to talk about tourism in Alabama's Black Belt.
Well, Jeff, thanks for joining us for the Newswrap.
Thanks, Carolyn.
That was Jeff Sanders, executive producer and correspondent, while Todd Stacy was away. More information about Capitol Journal can be found at the aptv.org website. Thanks for joining us for In Focus, which is a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to get in touch at infocus@troy.edu. I'm Carolyn Hutchison, and this is listener-supported Troy Public Radio.